Okay. So in the previous class, we had talked about how the main plant body of bryophyte is gametophytic plant body, which is responsible for making the gametophytes. But how? Basically, there is the male sex organ and then there is the female sex organ. So the male sex organ of the bryophyte is called as the antheridium. The sex organ of the bryophyte is called as archegonium. Now, the antheridium prepares the antherozoids, whereas the archegonium forms the egg cell, right? Which is the fertile egg, the female gamete. Now, furthermore, the thing is that for the transportation of the gametes, in order for the fusion to take place, water is very, very important. So fertilization produces the zygote that is formed inside the archegonia. Now see, normally you know that whenever we talk about sexual reproduction, we always think about angiosperms, the highermost plant. And the highermost plant are like, they are, you can say, advanced in almost all of the aspects as far as you can say the fertilization inside the female cavity is concerned, the production of gametes are concerned, and everything of that sort. So in this case, the fertilization is going to happen. And where is it going to happen? It is going to happen inside the archegonia itself. Zygotes, they do not undergo reductional division. Rather, they quickly undergo the mitotic division in order to form the diploid sporophyte. And as I told you that they like the diploid sporophyte, it is not independent. It is dependent upon the gametophytic plant. Now, when we talk about the sporophyte, they like their whole entire body is made up of three things: capsule, seta, and foot. Okay, capsule, seta, and foot. Now, what happens is that inside that particular capsule of the sporophyte is where the spores will be formed. From what? So the spores will be formed from the spore mother cells. So the spore mother cells, they are going to undergo meiosis to produce haploid spores, right? And this is how we see that the spore formation takes place. Now those spores are of one type. Like all the spores, they look the same in terms of their morphology, in terms of everything, they're same. So they are homosporous. Okay, they are those organisms that produce one type of spores and we call them as homosporous plants. Now, as soon as the spores are formed, they will get, you can say, dispersed into the environment and liberated, right? And then how will they reach the archegonia? With the help of wind. Okay, they're not going to reach Archegonia. They're going to be dispersed with the help of wind. And as they land on the right land, or you can see, wherever they fit onto a suitable substratum, they're going to germinate and give rise to, again, the gametophyte, thereby completing the life cycle all in all. So as the air shakes the capsule part, the spores come out and are dispersed. The spores, they have the ability to germinate immediately after falling on the suitable substratum. So maybe it came out of the capsule. Now, as soon as it lands on the suitable substratum where there is enough water and everything around, they will immediately germinate and form the gametophytic plant colony. Now, when the spores fall on the suitable substratum, they either can germinate into the thalloid gametophyte, such as in the case of the first type of, you can say, bryophytes called as the liverworts, or they can go through a creeping filamentous stage called as protonema, which is another stage. So now, further you're going to see how the bryophytes are divided into two types: liverworts and mosses. Each of them are a little bit different from each other, and they have the same, like they are bryophytes, but their sizes are a little different. Now, in them, vegetative reproduction takes place through fragmentation, gamma formation, and budding. Each of these things I will discuss. So the first type of bryophytes that we're going to see are the liverworts. So all in all, in very short, you can call them as the thalloid gametophyte. meaning they are thallus-like, and they are obviously gametophyte, meaning gamete-producing body. So when we talk about the liverworts, they usually grow in the moist, shady habitat, such as now the banks of the stream, marshy ground. They grow on the damp soil, bark of trees, and deep in the woods. These are the places wherein you'd find the liverworts present. Now, when we talk about the liverworts, what happens is that the plant body is thallite, such as in the case of Mercantia. Mercantia is an example of a thalloid gametophytic liverwort. It is one of the name. Now, the thallus is dorsiventral and closely appressed to the substratum. Dorsiventral means the dorsal side of the body is up, the ventral side is below, and they are appressed. Appressed means sort of like press flat onto the substratum, meaning onto the surface. Now the leafy members, they have some leafy members as well, and they are called as porella. They have tiny leaf-like appendages present in 2 rows on the stem-like structure. Again, to remind you one thing, we have just step 1 up from algae, right? So there is not going to be root, stems, and leaves so directly. Rather, there will be root-like, leaf-like, and stem-like structure. Now, in the case of liverworts, this is very important to discuss. The gamma cups, meaning the asexual reproduction occurs by the means of fragmentation, right? Wherein the body would get into fragments. Each of those fragments are going to grow into a new individual. Or another way of asexual reproduction in the case of liverworts is on the specialized structures that are called as gamma. Okay, gamma are cup-like structures. They are green, they are multicellular, and they are asexual buds. And they develop in receptacles or swollen structures that are gamma cups that are located on the thallus. Now, mature gamma, they become detached from the body, and then they're going to germinate to form new individual, meaning again another gametophytic plant body could be given rise. So during the sexual reproduction, now that was asexual reproduction. Whenever there will be any need, as far as let's just say water is not present in an enough amount, right? The transfer of gametes cannot take place via water. So they can opt for asexual reproduction as well, in which they reproduce by gamma cups. Here, no fusion, nothing of that sort takes place. Is it clear, students?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes. Also, the rest of you, please switch on your videos. Now, always remember.
I have a lot of chaotic people around me, so I can't really open my video.
What about the others? Switch on your videos, everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, see, this was the asexual reproduction as far as the liverworts were concerned. Now, sexual reproduction, you already know that there is the presence of male sex organ and the female sex organ. So, antheridia is the male sex organ and archegonia is a female sex organ. Now, the male and the female sex organs, they could be produced on the same particular thallus, such as in the case of Rixia. Or if they are produced on different thalli, that is in the case of Mercantia. So in the case of Mercantia, the sex organs, they are present on 2 separate thalli. Male sex organ are represented by our antheridiophore and the female sex organs are on the archegoniophore. So see right here in your, is the picture or the pictorial representation showing you how the archegoniophore is there, which is the female sex organ, and then there is the antheridiophore, the male one. And here in this picture, you might see this leafy structure, this structure that you see, this is the leaf-like structure that they refer to. You see branches over here, tiny thingies. These are the rhizoids, which is the root-like structure that they are talking about. They are root-like. And then, see these structures, these are the gamma cups, sort of like this, right? And they give rise to the gamma and they are responsible for the asexual reproduction. So now just by visualizing, you people should understand which one is a female, which one is a male. Now back in my time when I was in class 11, the trick I used to learn which one was female, which one was male was very stupid, but I'm still telling you. I used to think that this one is very organized and very proper like a flower. So this is female definitely. The second one is very shabby, untidy, so that is the male. Clear? So now you can also visualize just by looking. The pretty and nice and organized one is the female, and the shabby one is the male. Clear? Just by looking at these, like the Archegoniophore and Antheridiophore, you can distinguish amongst them. Clear, students?
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, now once they are done, like these are the gametophytes that will produce the gametes. So when these gametes will fuse, it will result into the formation of zygote, which will become an embryo. Now this embryo is going to form the sporophyte, just like their lifestyle does. Now the sporophyte is differentiated into foot, seta, and capsule yet again. The capsule has spore mother cell, which will give rise to the spores that are haploid, and that will be done by the meiotic division. Again, when the spores will land on the suitable substratum, they will germinate into the gamete. Liverworts is clear to everyone.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, see this thing. The foot seta capsule, this structure is the capsule. Okay, the stalk-like structure is called as the seta, and the foot part is obviously down here. This. So foot, seta, and capsule. So half of the body is the sporophytic body that has three components, and the rest half of the body is the gametophytic body that has the further like antheridiospore, like archegonia and stuff. Understood? So, like I told you, the sporophyte is born on the gametophyte. Meaning, if this is a gametophyte and this is a sporophyte, so it will be present on top of it to derive nutrition from it. Okay? It's like a parasite, but not that. Clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am.
So this was about liverworts, which is the first type of bryophytes. Now let us look at some of the examples that we have mentioned. So these examples should be at the tip of your tongue always. You should never forget it. So we have Mercantia, which is one of the most famous bryophyte there is. There's Mercantia. All right, can you see the screen, students?
Yes, ma'am.
See, this is the Mercantia pictures that are available. And now you can see that they are not microscopic. They are bigger in size. And if you look at them, they sort of look like leaves, but they are not actual leaves. Clear? This is clear? And see this thing. What is it? Archegoniophore or Antheridiophore? The second
Archive.
picture.
Archive.
Yeah, boy.
Archegoniophore, right? Isn't it? Pretty and nice. So that is your Mercantia. Now the next organism that we had to discuss or see was Rixia. Rixia Bryophyte. This is Rixia. Okay, now there are different species available, so not every single species are going to look the same, but this is somewhat of the rough idea how they look like. Clear, students?
Yeah,
You know,
ma'am.
when I share my screen to search a picture for you people, deep down I'm so scared that I pray to God that please, please, no inappropriate pictures pop up, please. Because, you know, no matter what you type, there are things that are supposed to pop up on the internet. So I'm like very scared while I show you the pictures. Okay. Now talking about the next thing, that is your this mosses. Okay. The other type of bryophytes are mosses. Have you people seen those aquariums that have aquatic plants in them?
Yeah, ma'am.
have you seen those like they sort of look like, you might have seen, have you people been to hilly areas?
Yes, ma'am.
On the
Yeah.
mountain, on top of the mountain or at the sides of the mountain, have you seen a green mat like structure? That
Yeah.
like if you might have been near a mountain to get your pictures clicked, if you kept your hand on it, you might have felt a rough surface on the mountain. Have you?
Yeah, it feels
That is
weird.
a moss. Okay, that is a moss that you people have touched unknowingly. Now you're knowing. So that's a moss, and they look like a mat, right? Wherever they are present, they look like a mat. And the best thing about that, or about those mosses, is that they have such a great water holding capacity. They can absorb a lot of water. They can hold a lot of water in them. So now we're going to study those mosses only. So that moss is the actually filamentous stage of the bryophyte. Okay. And the filamentous stage is what we're going to call as protonema. So the predominant stage of the life cycle of a moss is the gametophyte, which consists of protonema and the leafy stage. Now the plant body is a leafy gametophyte, which has multicellular and branched rhizoids. They consist of upright, slender axis, slender means thin, that bear spirally arranged leaves. This stage bears the sex organ. Obviously, it is the gametophytic stage, so it is going to bear the sex organs in it. Now, in the sexual reproduction, the sex organs, that is antheridia and archegonia, are produced at the apex. What is the meaning of apex, students? Apex.
At the tip or like edge.
Yes. The apical portion or the tip portion is called as the apex. So, the sex organs, they are mostly present or found on the apex of those particular leafy structures. So, look at this picture. This picture shows you the whole entire structure of a particular moss, wherein the branch structure that you see is the protoneme. This is the one that we are talking about. Okay. So when we talk about the protonema, so they have the sex organs present. And in the case of sexual reproduction, they are present at the tip of the leafy shoot. The sex organs are present on the same plant, but they are going to be present on the different branches. The antheridium is going to produce a number of biflagellate antherozoids. Okay, they're going to produce a number of biflagellate antherozoids. So they'll be having two flagella present. And the archegonium is going to make the fertile eggs. Now, once the gametes fuse, they'll form a zygote. The zygote will again make the sporophyte, which will be differentiated into foot, seta, and capsule. Again, the same thing, capsule would have spore sacs present. Now, this one, they would have spore sacs present, which will form the spores by meiotic division. And then the spores will be, you can say, germinated or liberated first of all. And when they germinate, they are going to germinate into creeping green branched and filamentous stage that is called as the protonema stage. So much before the actual or mature sporophytic stage is attained, there is a middle stage or a juvenile stage called as the protonema. Now, vegetative reproduction in the mosses takes place by fragmentation and budding in the secondary protonema, meaning the protonema that has developed a bit. Some examples of the mosses are Funaria, Polytrichum, and Sphagnum. These three are the examples. Now, if you see here, this is the gametophytic and sporophytic in one picture that you can see. And the second is the picture of sphagnum gametophyte. The first is the picture of the gametophytic body and the sporophytic body of Funaria. Is it clear, students?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's just see Funaria also. This is the picture of the Funaria. Now the foot seta capsule that was being shown to you, this is how it looks like in the real life. Now you can clearly see how at the below portion, like at the down portion, there is the gametophytic plant body. This plant body is going to do all the work as far as the food making is concerned. And on the top, you see the capsule, you see the seta, and below there is the foot. Understood, students? So they are present together, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, when you people go to a this thing hilly area, now you will see it, and then you'll be like, oh, ma'am taught this. This is a sporophytic plant body. Now I can clearly see. If you tell others, they'll think that you are crazy, but do tell them. Clear this much?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
we are done with the bryophytes. Now let us see their economic importances. And what are they so useful for? First of all, the bryophytes, especially the mosses, since they are in the form that they are, pressed on the land, meaning they are present so closely to the land, or so you can say stuck onto the land like this, that they hold the soil very tight. And because they hold the soil very tightly, they prevent soil erosion. So one of the most important, you can say, services or economic importance that we get from the bryophytes are that they prevent soil erosion. Second, soil formation. Now, mosses are an important link in plant succession on rocky areas. They take part in building soil in rock crevices formed by lichens. So basically, they help in soil formation also. See, whenever they ask you about the economic importance, one line description you can give. And if it is a 2 marks question, then you just write the point aims. You don't have to describe it. Sphagnum is also called as the bog moss. It ultimately fills the ponds and lakes with soil. Then water retention. Like I told you, mosses, they are very, very good at holding water. So sphagnum, it has great water holding capacity or absorbing capacity. And many a times, if you order any plant online, living, they will package the plant with moss. Just like how bubble wraps are there. So they'll sort of bubble wrap the plant with moss in order to provide it the much water and moisture that it requires to stay alive, and then you'll get it. So that is why the gardeners use it to keep seedlings and cut plants like moist during transportation and propagation. Sphagnum moss was also used in the place of absorbent cotton. So it is also called as cotton moss. Then peat. There are many species of sphagnum that basically when they die, their dead remains are going to get, sort of like fossilized, like how fossils are formed. They are also going to be fossilized for thousands of years, and they're going to produce a very dark substance, which is called as the peat. This peat is a great fuel. It is used as a manure as well. So many a times, sphagnum is also referred to as peat moss because peat is formed through it. Other uses in rocky and ice-cold areas, mosses are a good source of food for certain animals like birds. A decoction of polytrichum, which is the name of a bryophyte, it was employed in removing kidney stones as well. So it has medicinal property. It becomes a good source of food for other organisms. It is a source of peat. It prevents soil erosion. It helps in the formation of soil, and it has great water holding capacity. Is this much clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any doubts in any of the parts? Tell me. I'll repeat it. Okay, so what was the last thing you people wrote down?
We have to start from here.
External layer of water.
Yes.
Okay. Done, students? Shall I scroll down?
Yeah, ma'am.
Done, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone's done till here? Shall I scroll down?
Yes.
Done, students? Done till here? Now, let me discuss the next division of the plant
Ma'am,
kingdom
can you
with you all.
just for
Yes.
a minute scroll up? I want to.
Hmm?
Can you can you show the mosses part one more time?
Yeah, most part I load.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right, everyone, switch back your videos on.
Can you just scroll that first part?
Yes, dear.
Can you scroll that first part?
Which part? Hmm? Which part?
That Bryophytes from point 9.
Your voice is not clear, Umera. I can't hear you.
From
Speak again.
Bryophytes, that 9 point.
Ninth point.
Bryophytes.
Bryophytes, 9 point. 9 point says that the water is important for the fertilization, meaning after the gametes are formed, in order for them to fuse with each other, they have to be brought together. They have to be brought to each other, and that is done with the help of water. That is why they are called as amphibians of the plant kingdom, because they require water to complete their sexual reproduction. Now, see, students, I will give you the notes, so don't worry about it. Let us discuss the next particular division of the plant kingdom, and that is pteridophytes. Now, pteridophytes are those organisms that are vascular in nature. Vascular meaning xylem and phloem are going to be present. Okay, xylem and phloem, they have that. So they are called as vascular plants, and they are seedless. Like, even though they are, one step towards evolution, they do not produce seeds. Now, the pteridophytes, in terms of their main general characteristics, they are found in cool, damp, shady places, but some of them are also found in sandy soils as well. Like, some of them also basically, you can say, found in the you can say drier condition as well. Evolutionary, they are the first terrestrial plants to possess vascular tissues, that is xylem and phloem. Now, in them, they have slowly moved on towards a very permanent terrestrial life, and they are among those first plants to have xylem and phloem. Up until now, we saw algae, we saw bryophytes. They had no xylem and phloem, no conducting tissues, but the pteridophytes do. So the xylem is responsible for the transportation of water and minerals, whereas the phloem is responsible for the conduction of the food throughout the plant body. Now, unlike bryophytes, the main plant body in the case of pteridophyte is a sporophytic plant body, meaning a diploid plant body is the main plant body. And now you can find true stem, true leaves, and true roots in them. So main plant body has been divided now into true roots, stems, and leaves. Now the leaves in Pteridophyta may be small, that is microphyls. Tiny leaves are microphyls. This is there in the case of a plant on pteridophyte called as Selaginella, or the leaves could be large, such as macrophylls. Okay, they are going to be called as macrophylls, and they are going to be found in the ferns. So right here are the pictures. So the first one is your Selaginella. The second one is Salvinia, which is an aquatic fern. And the third one is the terrestrial fern, the normal fern that there is. Now, the thing that is so special about them is that their leaves, they have, like you can say, sporangia present in them. What are sporangia? Sporangia are those parts which gives rise to the spores. So the spore producing part, sporangia, is found on the leaf and the leaflets. Okay, and those leaves that have sporangia, we call them as sporophyll. So it's like, for example, if this is a leaf, so in them, tiny circular structures are going to be there, which will give rise to the spores. So the sporangia, they contain sporogenous tissue, where spore mother cell, they are going to undergo the process of meiosis to produce the spores that are haploid. Now, in some pteridophytes, such as Selaginella and Equisetum, the sporophylls may be compactly arranged into structures called as strobili or cones. For example, there are many leaves that have this thing, sporangia in them. Now, when these leaves, they get fused into forming a cone-like structure. So, when several leaves are fusing up, that is called as a strobili or a cone. And this one is found in Selaginella and Equisetum. See, this is what a strobili looks like. Okay, is it clear, students, up until now?
Yes, ma'am.
Now see, this is the structure of Equisetum, wherein you can see the branches are there, the nodes and the internodes are there, and then there is this cone-like structure wherein their leaves have sort of condensed or fused or got compactly arranged in order to form the strobilus, or you can call it as the cone. Now, in the case of plants such as Lycopodium and Bryopteris, they produce single kind of spores, meaning one type of spores only. So, they're going to be called as homosporous. Whereas the plants such as Selaginella, Salvinia, they're going to produce two types of spores. One will be really large spores, we call it as the macrospores, and the small ones are going to be called as microspores. And they are known as heterosporous. Hetero means different. Sporous refers to the spore producing capability. Now, when these spores will germinate, they will give rise to inconspicuous, small but multicellular free-living photosynthetic gametophyte that is called as prothallus. The name of the gametophyte in the case of pteridophytes is prothallus. It's going to be very small and reduced, but it is going to be photosynthetic, meaning it will synthesize the food or do the process of photosynthesis. Now the megaspores and microspores, they germinate and give rise to female and male gametophytes respectively. The gametophytes that bear the male and female sex organs are called as antheridia, and the ones that bear the you can say the female ones are called as archegonia. These are the gametophytes and their names. This much is clear, students. Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, furthermore, the gametophyte that develops in homosporous species, meaning from one type of spore producing species, they are monoecious. What is the meaning of monoecious? Wherein the male and the female reproductive structures are present in one individual. Students, switch on your videos. So they are present in one individual. That condition is called as monoecious condition, while those of heterosporous species is called as dioecious condition. Dioecious means the male and the female reproductive structures are going to be present on different individuals. That is the case of the heterosporous structures. Now, the gametophyte requires cool, damp, shady place to grow. And because of this very reason, the pteridophytes are not found everywhere. They're very restricted to a narrow geographical range. Why? Because they need cool, they need damp, and they need a shady place to live and to thrive very nicely. That is why you don't find them on like every geographical location. Now the gametes, the male gametes that are the antherozoids, they're going to be motile and flagellated. They will also require external supply of water so that they can swim to the archegonium for the fusion. Now the fusion will happen, the zygote will be formed, the zygote will form the embryo, and this embryo is going to become the sporophyte yet again. So in the case of bryophytes, the main plant body was gametophytic. Whereas in the case of pteridophytes, the main plant body is what? Sporophytic, right? This much is clear to everyone.
Yeah.
Now, see this thing. The sporophytic plant body is there, which is a diploid situation. It is going to give rise to the sporophylls, right? Sporophylls are those leaves that bear sporangia, right? So those are called as the sporophylls. So these are the sporophylls given rise by the sporophyte. Now the sporangia is present on them. The sporangia has spore mother cell, which will undergo the process of meiosis to give rise to the haploid spores. Now these haploid spores, when they're going to germinate, they will give rise to the prothallus, right? Now, prothallus is the gametophyte, which is haploid. Now, it will develop into the male gametophyte, that is the antheridia, and it will develop into the female gametophyte, that is the archegonia. Now, the male gametophyte will make the antherozoid. The female gametophyte is going to make the archegonia. Both of them are undergoing syngamy. Syngamy means fertilization. And when they fertilize, when they fuse, a zygote is formed. This zygote will give rise to the embryo, and ultimately the sporophyte or the sporophytic plant body is germinated yet again. So the life cycle of a pteridophyte is clear to everyone, the basic life cycle.
Yeah, ma'am.
So in the case of the heterosporous species, the female gametophyte is present on the parent sporophyte. Now this is opposite. The gametophyte is present on the sporophyte for a variable period. The development of zygote into the young embryos takes place within the female gametophytes. This event sort of tells us how the next thing, in the next, you can say division, there is the seed formation. So this is a precursor to seed formation, meaning this is slowly moving towards the seed habit or seed formation habit. And this is a very important thing as far as evolution is concerned. So heterospory is going to lead it to the seed habit. So they are not producing seeds, but they're showing the signs that when they will evolve, the next kind of organisms that are going to be there, they're going to produce seeds. And this is a very important, you can say, key event as far as the particular, this is concerned. What? Seed habit or evolution of the plant is concerned. Now, the heterosporous vascular cryptogams. Now, vascular means xylem phloem present. Heterosporous means that two types of spores are present. And cryptogams means they are smaller in size, like in terms of the other plants. So, they fail to develop seed because they do not have any protective structures, and you can say the retention of megaspore, this you don't have to remember. This is not for your syllabus. So the retention of megaspore is not established yet. So they cannot bear seeds, nor can any of the pteridophytes. They sort of show that, okay, one day they're going to evolve into something that is going to produce seeds, but they themselves do not produce any kind of seeds. Now the pteridophytes, they have 4 classes amongst them. Coelopsida, under which Xylotum is one organism. Lycopsida is the name of another class under which Selaginella, Lycopodium are the organisms. Then there is Sphenopsida, under which Equisetum is the organism. Then there is Pteropsida, Bryopteris, Pteris, Adiantum are the organisms. Clear? Now, lastly, looking at the economic importance of the pteridophytes. So they are also preventing soil erosion because they will be doing binding of the soil very tightly. Many of them are used as medicine. Okay, such as Bryopteris, it is used to make an helminthic drug, meaning against the worms. Then ferns like plants, they are used for decoration. So they are ornamentals. Many of them are used as food, such as Marsilia, which is a water fern. It yields starch, meaning it has a good quantity of starch in it. That's the reason why it is a good source of food for many tribal people. Lastly, scouring. What is scouring? It is basically, they have been used for the such as, imagine it like scrubbing. Scrubbing is scouring. So for the cleaning of utensils, polishing of metals, equisetum stems are used. So these are the various economic importance of the pteridophytes. This first line is important. This part is. The first line says Azola is a scientific name of the aquatic water fern. Okay, aquatic water fern, basically the algae, and this aquatic water fern is used like a biofertilizer. Biofertilizer means that it will be applied to the soil in the form of a living fertilizer so that the plants could get much more nutrients. Then there's another algae that is called as Anabina. It will fix atmospheric nitrogen in the association with Azola. So Azola can form a symbiotic association with an algae and fix the atmospheric nitrogen. Clear, students? So this is your pteridophytes that we have done just now. Now we have only 2 divisions of plant kingdom left, and then this chapter is going to be finished. And don't worry about the notes. I will send you these notes. I thought instead of wasting time, I can teach you one more division. So bryophytes and pteridophytes are clear to everyone?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, students. So we'll keep it till here only for today's class. I'll be sending you these notes so you can copy them down. And I'll see you all in the next.
Thank you, ma'am.
Most welcome.